Am I recording? Not yet. There we go. All right, perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. So great to see some of your faces, and for the faces I cannot see, so great to see your name. Hello also to our Facebook audience. Feel free to join us on the Zoom today, as opposed to Facebook, as I know that I think today might be workshop style a little bit. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tony. But before I hand it over to Tony, I just want to welcome everyone again to another session of Marketing Outside the Box. It's our second one of 2022. Excited to have this topic all year as you kick off your marketing plan for the year, tying it to having your marketing budget, which we think is really, really important here at Hustle. So I am Magalia Synth. I am the Executive Director for Hustle Winston-Salem. For those that are not familiar with us, we are a nonprofit organization located in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So if you're not from the area, welcome to our little world virtually. Marketing Outside the Box is a program that we've been doing for a number of years now in partnership with the Foresight Tech Small Business Center, which is also located here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And when we do it in person, we do it also in partnership with Flywheel Co-working. And we hope the pandemic allows us to soon be able to be in person again, and figure out a hybrid way to do this so that we don't lose our virtual audience as well. So excited to continue this month's topic. For those that are not familiar with Marketing Outside the Box, and it might be your first time with us, we take a topic for the entire month. We break that topic up throughout each week in the month so that by the end of the month, you have a solid review of whatever that topic may be. As stated, this month, we are covering money and marketing, and that's really tied to your marketing budgets, making sure that you are able to afford assistance, whether that comes in the form of an intern or whatever else, and things of that nature. So last week, we did a bit of an overview as we opened up the topic, and we'll be continuing today with you creating an actual budget, or at least learning the skeletons of making sure that you can create that actual marketing budget for yourself. And then next week, we go into closing out the session with how you continue to get some assistance with your marketing budget, whether that's in the form of grants, interns, etc. So definitely looking forward to providing you with those resources. Next month, super excited. We have a wonderful guest with us as well next month, and she'll be covering public relations for small businesses. And many times as small business owners, we think about marketing, we think about social media, we think about all of these things, and we leave PR out of the conversation. So definitely want to encourage you to join us in February as well. And lastly, before I hand it over to Tony, if you do not receive our newsletter, please just go to our website, click that connect link at the top and sign yourself up to receive our newsletter. Tony, if you don't mind dropping our website into the chat, so for anyone that may need it. And I share that because there are a lot of resources that this program, the time does not allow me to go through each individual resource for you. But if you get our newsletter, you take the time to read through it, we typically try to provide resources both in the form of programming that's available to you to help you move your business forward, but also funding and the opportunities that may be available to you, whether that's grants, loans, careers, all in the entrepreneurial and small business space that may be beneficial to you as a small business owner. So just make sure that you give yourself access to that resource. And if you have any trouble, let us know. If you were with us last week, you should have received last week's presentation as well as video recording. If not, and you need it, we'll definitely get it to you this week, along with this week's presentation and recording. We encourage you to use the chat feature in here and the comment feature on Facebook, to introduce yourself, tell us about your business. Unfortunately, time just does not afford us the opportunity for each individual to go through and tell us about yourself. So please tell us who you are in the chat. Feel free to drop your social media. We love to follow up and we love to follow you and keep up with your business and promote things that your business is doing on our platform as well. So definitely drop that in the chat, and you can keep up with us by following us on social media. That's hustle_WS. Keep up with all things hustle on all platforms that way. And at this point, I will be quiet and hand it over to our speaker, Tony, for today, who will continue the topic from last week. Tony?
Thank you. Thank you. Actually, while we're adding our information into the chat, if we could also, if you so choose, tell us about your marketing budget. So small, medium, or large. I won't be able to type it into the chat, so I'll just say that I have a business called Building the Boss, and I'm working with a small marketing budget. So hold on, y'all, because we're sharing.
Small, medium, and large for everyone.
Say it again.
Can you define small, medium, and large budget to everyone? What's the range for small? What's your range for medium and your range for large, so they can best answer?
I would say a small budget is you're spending less than $2,500 a month on marketing efforts. Medium would be, $2,501 to probably $8,000, and then large is anything over $8,000 per month.
Thank you.
So I'm just finding the screen, y'all. 1 second as we share. Right.
Oh, we like that. Budget like a hustler.
Okay. Mine is, I don't know if it's my computer, if everybody's seen it, but that was a little slow. So today we are talking about creating, assessing, and possibly adjusting our budget. Budget like a hustler. I wanted a cute little title for it. So today's agenda, we're going to create and analyze. Hopefully by the end of this, you should feel more comfortable and confident to create your own marketing budget and know what to look for after executing marketing efforts to see if anything was successful or needed to be adjusted. I'm also going to give you some things that you should be looking for, some calculations that you can do to help you determine that. So yes. Just to recap, I love to do a quick recap. I saw there were some new people on the call, and then also so people from last week can understand exactly where we are. We talked about last week, looking back at your financials from last year, and even your goals actually from last year. Did you meet those goals? What finances did you spend? How much did you spend on marketing? If you're brand new, if you just started your business this year, that's fine. Then obviously that'll be quick and easy. It'd be zero, but I still want you to answer that question. Next would be setting overall business goals and then converting that into marketing goals. Okay, so not all business goals is going to have a direct reflection in the marketing, but if it does or can be, I encourage you to do so. It's going to help you create your business plan, which helps you create your marketing budget. Your marketing plan. So that'll then help you create your marketing budget. And then finally, it's deciding what percentage of your revenue you're going to allocate towards marketing efforts. Okay, we talked about the overall average for small businesses. We talked about how it could fluctuate depending on your industry, depending on what you're giving your clients and customers. We talked about all of that. And then finally is strategizing ways to reach your specific customers. Okay, every business is different, so you need to strategize particularly to your customers. And then finally, we talked about your options when it comes to marketing and how you can budget with that, okay? Your finances towards a Google ad versus your finances for the marketing that you put into your packaged goods are going to be different. So you need to really flesh out all the options available to you and all the options you want to take when it comes to marketing your business. So for each converted marketing goal, we should have walked through what it would take to execute it, okay? How do you see it working? What actions will you be taking? Do you need any software for that? Do you need to hire any professionals? Okay, it might not be an employee, but maybe you're not strong on graphic design. You want to, for this particular campaign, you want to use a graphic designer. We need to flush all of that out so that we can budget for it. Okay, and then finally, what happened last week is we got introduced to our example company, which is Cheryl Style. She is a stylist and now an inspired author. So overall, just to recap, because we're going to use her information when we discuss the budget template. So overall, last year, Cheryl generated $100,000 in revenue. Okay, she spent 10% or $10,000 on marketing efforts. Last year, she put that $10,000 into Facebook and Instagram ads, as well as creating her website. All right, so this year, her goals, these are her marketing goals. So she had business goals, but I reduced them to marketing goals, is to hire a marketing assistant, book creation and launch, and then gain 24 new styling clients, virtual styling clients, okay? And then her customers or potential customers are looking for fashion inspiration on Pinterest and Instagram. They watch they watch videos on YouTube about fashion trends. They shop on trusted online stores, okay? Anything that looks sketchy, they're not putting their money on it. And then finally, they like all the details before they purchase anything. Okay, you need to know your customers also, because that helps you navigate, okay, what ways am I going to put my money, and is it smart to put my money there if my customers going to be there, okay, or else we just waste the money. So finally, the plan and strategies. So Cheryl is going to start being consistent on Pinterest, because last year she was Facebook and Instagram. She is going to hire a marketing assistant in July. That is her goal. She wants to hire a book cover designer, because that's not her strong suit. Update the company website, because she doesn't think it's going to attract customers currently how it is. And then subscribe to a content scheduler software, because she's not going to hire her assistant until mid-year, so she can't do it all. All right. So now it's time to plug it all in. It's going to be a financial breakdown. We're going to put in the numbers. Don't worry, like budgets in general, all right, whether that's life or business or specific to marketing, they are just a plan, okay? We know life does not go according to plan, okay? My whole week did not go according to plan. So a plan is just the baseline. If we need to deviate from it, fine, you know what I'm saying? But we want to at least plan it out. So we're going to hop into the budget. Let me stop sharing for just a second. Okay, and I got started just a little bit because I wanted to show you there's two ways you can do the budget. It is specifically up to you, especially if you are a solopreneur. One of the things that I got feedback on is that it can be overwhelming, right? And so what we want to do is adjust things for ourselves so that we can take some of the pressure off of ourselves. Nobody's in your business but you. As long as it is understandable, you can explain it to somebody, then we work with that, okay? So there's two ways that I broke it down here. So the first one is specific to a goal. So I named her book Serious Style. And so this is for the creation. She's budgeting for the creation and launch of that, okay? And then the second way I did it was through a particular category or area, which is paid advertising, okay? So what we do here, I just did January, and then we can fill it in together. But what we did here is, obviously she's probably writing her book right now, right? So there's no money being spent unless we want to on marketing things, okay, such as a book cover designer, a graphic designer for anything that's going in the book or for any advertising that might happen. a photographer for the cover, for online advertising, the actual printing of the book, Google ads for promotion, and then she's going to use influencer ads, because if you remember, I said that a lot of her customers follow fashion YouTubers. Okay, so none of that's happening in January. She's still writing the book. But in February, she's starting to get serious. She's done the book. She sent it off to her editor. So now it's time to start the creation part that's specifically related to marketing. Okay, so we have the cover designer, just going to charge her $1,000. And then we have the photographer, which is going to be $2,500. Okay, that is what she budgeted for. Now, this is the category, and everybody's going to get this template. It's going to be sent out. We're going to be good. Now, when at the end of February, what we go in and do, or we could do it, in time, however you decide, we realize that we actually spent about $1,200, right, on the cover design. Okay, and the photographer was good. They cut us a discount, and we got it for $2,000. Okay, but everything else was according to plan. We didn't spend any money here. 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 Okay, we are under budget. That is a good thing. Okay, and we used up 91% of the budget. Does this make sense to everybody? Does anybody have any questions? Okay, so now for her goal of 24 new virtual clients, I'm assuming this is where the paid advertisement is coming in. Okay, she wants to put her money where her mouth is. So she's going to budget probably $100 a month. This is for January, for each thing. And we'll talk about the billboard in a second, for each online platform. Okay. The billboard she's not ready for, so we'll hit 0. All right, now with online platforms, they're going to ask you the maximum that you want to spend per click or overall for the entire campaign. So she decides to do that for Google. But for Pinterest, and she's really trying her efforts, she's trying to grow on Pinterest, that's her $100 is her budgeted amount. By the end of January, she spent $275. Okay. Again, the billboard wasn't happening this month, and then YouTube ads, she was at $98. Okay, we are now over budget. All right, but we'll see later on as I go through the presentation, that might not be a bad thing. Okay, and then we'll do this again for this one. Any questions thus far? All right. So let me I'm going to put this over on my other screen, and we're going to go back to the presentation. So like I said, everybody's going to get that template. It's going to be filled out and calculated for you. Okay, so literally all you have to do is plug in the numbers. All right, now what the work comes in, the real work comes in after we start filling out the budget. So we're going to budget for everything. We have our plan in place. Okay, we have a plan in place. We're going to put in the numbers, the budgeted numbers that we have for it. If we have $100 to spend for the month, okay, then we need to break 100 down by each of the categories that we decide. As we also discussed last week, you don't have to do everything at one time, okay? Some of us are really trying to make traction on social media. If we're trying to make traction on social media, the best way to do that is to do one platform at a time. I know that's hard, okay? I know we want to be everywhere, but financially, at the very least, financially, do one platform at a time. You have to figure out with marketing, it's an investment, and it is I don't want to say a guessing game, but it is really a figuring your way through the waters, working your way through, okay? So once we put in the numbers, once we have at least a month of budgeted funds versus spent funds, then we can start assessing things. It is extremely important in business, but especially with your marketing, to assess and analyze, okay? Or else we're wasting money, we're wasting time, we're wasting resources. So the topics for discussion is cost per lead, cost per click, conversion rate, cost per conversion, and return on investment. These are the things I think as small business owners, we really need to pay attention to, especially as I didn't see everybody's comment on their budget, but I don't care if you have the biggest budget. I think this is still important unless we're interested in wasting money. These 5 things are something that we really need to analyze on honestly a monthly basis. So, cost per lead. A lead is a serious inquiry, okay? Somebody that has taken an extra step to learn more about your business, what you're offering, your product, those things. So cost per lead is total marketing expenses divided by total number of leads. Okay, so if we spent in January $150 and that got us 10 leads, that means it costs our business $15 per lead. A lead is not a customer. They have not spent any money with us, okay? But it costs us $15 per lead. So some people can look at this and be like, oh my God, that's expensive. And then some people can look at this and be like, oh, that's nothing. It depends on your business. It depends on what you're selling, okay? Because if we're a business that we're selling $10 mugs and it costs us $15 per lead, that's not good, right? We're losing money. But if we are somebody who, you know, these leads are for $5,000 clients, $15 ain't nothing, right? So that is how we analyze cost per lead. That is something that is very important for us to pay attention to. Next is cost per click. This is where I feel sometimes we get a little hung up on vanity metrics, okay? Vanity metrics could be could be impressions or views. That really doesn't mean anything if people aren't taking action, such as a cost per click. A cost per click can be a cost per lead, depending if we're online or not. Okay, so sometimes they can be the same thing, and sometimes they're different. So when spending money, nobody can afford to be caught up in vanity metrics. And the only way vanity metrics really could offer us something is possibly showing us a disconnect, right? So impressions is when we're scrolling online and we see your ad, okay? Versus cost per click or click is when we see your ad and we click on it, okay? So we have $10,000 impression. I don't even say $10, 10,000 impressions. But then we have 5 clicks. That is a clear disconnect. There's something wrong with our content that's not invoking somebody to take further action, okay? So that's what vanity metrics can do for us. What it can't do for us is show us that we're spending our money where we're supposed to be, okay? So how we calculate cost per click is advertising costs divided by number of clicks. So if we spend $50 and we get 50 clicks, that is costing us $1 per click. Now, the average is actually $2 on Google is $2.38 per click. Okay, so if you're doing $1 per click, that's not bad. Okay, especially if that click can turn into a conversion. So additional terms to look out for is average cost per click. So maybe if you're running multiple ads, you might want to do the total cost of all of your campaigns and all of your ads divided by the total cost of all of your clicks. And that will give you your average cost per click, okay? Then you have your maximum cost per click. This is where Google, Instagram, Facebook be like, okay, well, how much are you trying to spend? Okay, they're helping you try to stay in budget. You can give them a budget. Be like, I don't want to spend more than this, okay? Next is conversion rate.
Tony?
Every business owner needs to know this.
Tony,
Yes,
can you hear me?
yes.
I want to say something on the last slide.
Mhm.
I think it's important for me to reiterate something as it relates to what you shared around the vanity metrics when small business owners are creating their budgets and looking at what their dollars are doing from a marketing standpoint. You know,
Mhm.
especially if you're using someone else to manage your marketing for you, if it's not something that you are leading. A lot of times, I think small business owners get caught up in being sold, services, marketing services, particularly around vanity metrics. And when you're creating your budgets, this is something that I think is very important for you to pay attention to. If you are one of those business owners that will have someone else managing that for you, make sure you're not being sold a dream around vanity metrics and you're budgeting to pay, a firm or individual, upwards of $1,000 a month to manage stuff, and they're coming back to you. You had 1,000, you had 10,000 views this month, and whatever the case may be, and just making sure that they explain to you the connection between what's actually happening, um, and what your dollars are paying for. A lot of times we get discouraged because we're thinking, oh, only 7 people is interacting with our post or whatever the case may be. But those 7 people might actually convert to clients, and that's worth you paying more than the 10,000 people who saw your post for 1 second. You know what I mean? So just really think about that when you're making your budgets. If you're managing it yourself, think about where you're putting your dollars in your marketing budget, as it relates to vanity metrics. I didn't want us to go past that without really understanding the implication of what she explained, particularly around vanity metrics and small business owners. Thank you, Tony.
No, thank you. That is excellent. And it's not just the marketing firms and professionals, it's also Facebook and Instagram. Like, oh, you had 3,000 impressions, but nobody at all shared it, liked it, engaged with it in any matter. Then that means nothing. Let me say not nothing. It means that your content needs some work, or you're not targeting it towards the right people. Okay. So like I said, nobody can afford to get caught up in vanity metrics. I don't care if you're a $10 million business. So thanks for that, Magali. Let me see. There we go. Okay, so conversion rate. Every business owner needs to know conversion rate. Every CEO, anybody in charge needs to know what the conversion rate is. Okay, how many clicks or leads turn into actual sales or customers? Okay, now conversion rates can seem very small, such as this one, 20 sales after divided by 1,000 clicks, right? So there, we had an ad, right? We had so many impressions with that ad, and then we got 1,000 clicks from that ad, right? But from those 1,000 clicks that clicked on our ad, let's take Cheryl. Only 20 of them bought her book. Okay, that means she has a conversion rate of 2%. All right, does that make sense to everybody? Because this is something, just like you need to know revenue, you need to know sales percentage, you need to know conversion rate. Conversion rate can save you a lot of money. All right. So after we have our conversion rates, we need to understand our cost per conversion. Okay, how much is it going to cost our business to turn a lead or a click into a sale? So how we do this is marketing money spent divided by number of sales. Now there's another equation that, and this is why I put spent, because sometimes we can get organic sales, right? Where we didn't put any marketing effort into that, say a referral or something like that. You would want to subtract that sale from that. So total marketing spent divided by conversion. So if we spent $100 and we got 3 customers out of that, that is a conversion rate of $33.33. Okay, it's going to cost our business $33.33 per customer. So questions you want to ask yourself when you're analyzing information is, can the business afford this rate? Like I said, if we are, give me another business. If we are selling books for $20, having a conversion rate of $3.33 is not going to work. Okay, we can't even have a conversion rate of $20. That's not break even. That's less than, that's over break even. So can your business afford the conversion rate that's coming from your calculations? And then what can be adjusted to increase, decrease something? Okay, so can you decrease the money you're spending on marketing, but still get either the same amount of conversions or more? That will reduce your conversion rate. Where is the disconnect? Okay, if you're spending all of this money, but then these leads aren't converting to customers, there's a disconnect somewhere. Okay, you need to find it and adjust, because we don't want to keep on just spending money. What was your previous cost per conversion? So after your first month, you want to keep on going back and make record of this. Okay, because if we're at $3.33, maybe we're new to this. Okay, so we're at $3.33. But next month we get it down to $24. And then the following month we get it down to $6. It was a really great month. But then the following month in April, we spent $33 again. Okay, what happened that we are so all over the place with our conversion? We need to fix that so that we're not hemorrhaging money. So we're not just continuously spending money on marketing efforts, getting wish-washy results. Okay. And then we have return.
Tony,
Yes.
is it okay to ask a question?
Of course, you guys can interrupt at any time.
How long will you be able to determine whether or not that budget that you've set aside, for the clicks and the conversions, maybe slow one month and then there's an increase the next month? How do you kind of know the timeline as to if it's working or not?
Okay, wait. So how do you determine the timeline to kind of like assess and analyze
The budget that you, yes.
Okay. That's completely up to you. I would recommend monthly. All right. And monthly, just to keep it simple so we're not overwhelmed, the first of the month to the last day of the month, right? We do our marketing, we do our marketing plan, we spend our money where we're spending our money. And then probably the third of the following month is probably when you want to do the assessments. Everything has cleared, you've seen some things, and you can start assessing and calculating what's happening. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
And
Thank
then
you.
after that, you'd probably want to do quarterly as well. So quarterly would probably come in with the final question of what was your previous cost per conversion? Okay, so now that we're in April, we can now assess and analyze January, February, and March. Okay, what were my conversion rates? What were my costs per click? What was my cost per conversion? And then see, okay, is there a drastic change in all of these numbers? What was I doing? What was happening? What money was being spent and wasted or gained? Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Yes, yes. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Awesome. Yes. Any other questions? All right. Then we have our return on investment. So definition. Technically, marketing efforts are an investment. All right. There's no guarantee on any money back. There's ways to guarantee money back, but there's no guarantee on money back. And sometimes it takes a while for marketing efforts to show a return. Okay. So this is why we have an ROI. So marketing return on investment is assigning growth in revenue or assigning growth in revenue or sales to marketing actions. Okay, so pretty much saying, because I spent this money on this marketing effort, we have seen a growth in revenue and or sales. Okay. Does anybody have any success or failure stories on return of investment, your marketing return of investment? No, we've never spent money on a campaign or a Facebook ad and got a return on investment, or not gotten a return on investment.
I think I could share an example of both, actually. I'll start with a failure story with investing a few dollars into a marketing campaign for a program that I was actually putting on. And, you know, the whole piss poor planning prevents, or whatever the saying is. I think I was a victim of that on my own. And, you know, it really goes back to what you started us off with last week, Tony, as far as planning correctly. Kind of waited until, I want to say, you know, something like 5 days or something, maybe even 3 days before the program itself. Decided, oh my goodness, let me dump some money onto this promotion because I really hadn't done much at that point. And I allocated some funds to it that I paid for and figured putting money behind it would solve my problem. But the reality was I didn't plan it well enough in advance. There wasn't a drip, a leak. There wasn't a plan behind the marketing. I just thought putting some money behind it. So, you know, after all was said and done, and I'm looking at what I paid for, I really didn't see a return on investment. I recognized that because I waited the time frame that I did wait, that I would have been better off spending $0 and probably getting the same response. So I felt like it was a fail from a ROI standpoint. And yeah, that's an example of a fail. Before I share a win, does somebody else want to jump in and share a win on an example of when they've seen a return on investment work in a positive way? I see there's one in the chat. Jackie, you want me to read it, or you want to go ahead and share it out loud?
Yeah, read it, because they're putting mirrors up in here, and so there's going to be some noise. They're putting mirrors up in here, so there's going to be noise. But I did a little Facebook thing, and I spent like $25 just to test the water, and I did get 4 customers from it, so that was a win.
That's good. Did you want to? That would be a cost per conversion. Do we want to do a calculation? I'm pulling up my calendar. I'm not my calendar, my calculator.
I'll let you do that for me. I'm in the middle of stuff right now. Sorry.
Let me see. So that was a $6.25 per conversion. That cost you $6.25 per conversion.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
I actually have a question.
Mm-hmm.
If you got 4 customers from $25, are you continuing this investment, or do you just do it once?
I think that'd be a question for.
I might continue it. You know, that was just, I'm probably going to try it for like 6 months to see, because people look for, you know, 1 month and it doesn't work, but definitely developing a trend. So, you know, maybe looking at 3 to 6 months to see how it pans out, and just, you know, keeping a small budget there. So.
Do you mind sharing? Was somebody else speaking?
Sorry, one thing that I will say is that I wouldn't necessarily say that it was a loss of an investment, because a lot of times that I've noticed that I put money into ads or certain things that are put into place to give me exposure or to give me more sales. If I didn't get the sales, I got the exposure. So those, they may not have purchase right then, but later on down the line, they may purchase something.
Exactly. And if there's a way you can track that, I would highly encourage that you do. So maybe like a customer relations management tool or something like that. Because yes, I mean, at the end of the day, we budget for the whole year. So even though you spent the money in January, but you don't see the customer until November, if that customer brings in more than you spent on them, that is still a success in my mind. So yes, so thank you all for sharing. Like I stated, it's technically an investment. So just because you spend the money today does not mean that you're going to see a return next week. It could be months down the line. But if you can track that, that would be excellent. So how we calculate a return on investment overall, you can do this for your overall marketing, or you can do this for a specific project or campaign that you ran. It's going to be the sales growth, right? So minus the marketing costs, and then we're going to divide it by the marketing costs, and that will give us our marketing return on investment. So I broke it down for y'all. So say we gained $2,000 in sales. Okay, we're going and we spent $500 in marketing efforts. We're going to subtract the $500, okay, and then divide it by the $500. We're subtracting the $500 because we had to spend that money to get it. So we're not going to compare, we're not going to see that as a gain because we had to spend it. And then we're going to divide it by 500 so we can get the dollar range. So that is a $300% return on investment, or a 3-to-1 ratio. What that overall means is for every dollar that we spent in marketing, we generated $3 in revenue. Okay. Now it's up to you, again, based on what we talked about last week, and the goals that you have for your business, if that is a success. If that is, like, say, if that was your numbers, would that be a success to you? That's only something you can determine. Okay. So what I would want you to ask yourself is the return on investment worth the effort? Okay. After you've done your calculations, is there any way to increase the return on investment? So I think this is good. Even if you consider for every dollar spent, you generated $3 in revenue. Even if you consider that a success, I would still want you to answer the question of, is there any way you can increase that? Okay, there's nothing wrong with making more money unless you're damaging somebody or someone or something. You can always generate more revenue. And then finally, should this marketing effort continue? All right, was it just for a campaign? Could you convert this into another campaign? Or is it something you can continuously do, such as Jacqueline? So yes, one thing though I do want to point out that was brought up that I just really want to drill into your head is that marketing takes time, okay? So once we do this for a month and we get our calculations and you're not happy with those calculations, that does not mean that you need to stop that marketing effort, all right? I would say to be consistent with it for about a quarter, which is, 3 months, and then decide like, okay, this effort isn't working for my business. Unless you're just really overspending and you're way out of budget, sometimes you just need to tweak and adjust, all right? So don't let these calculations consume your life and the way you operate your business. This is just so you can assess how things are going.
That's great. I want to say something. I don't know how much slides you have left, so I'm gonna say quickly. How many slides, excuse me. But the one where you say one of the things to decide is the ROI worth the effort? I want to encourage everyone when you're going through these exercises for your business, and you do the follow-up to make that decision, to really understand that whether it's worth the effort it's only something that you as the business owner can probably answer. A lot of people just tie that to the conversion, right? A lot of people tie that to the conversion, which makes sense. But I want to go a step further with that and ask yourself, beyond the conversion, like what did it take out of you as the business owner too, when you decide whether or not it's worth the effort? Did you put into way too much work to get, you got the desired result. You wanted, let's just say you wanted to get 10 customers out of whatever your effort was, whatever your marketing goal was, it was to get 10 new customers. And let's just say you got it. Let's just say you got your 10 customers. But by the time you executed everything that you wanted to execute, let's just say you were just done. It stopped you from getting anything else done for your business. Ask yourself as well, is that worth the effort too? So it is important to look at the conversion. That is important. It's why we're here. But I also want you all as business owners, when you're making these financial decisions, to recognize that the business is only as good as you, and that put that into answering is the ROI worth the effort? So whatever effort it is that you poured into it, if it took too much out of you, I don't know, you might want to reconsider answering, was it worth me going through all of that for 10 new customers? Do I need to change my goal in a 6-month window to try to get 5 new customers instead of 10 so that I could breathe a little bit? Okay.
Excellent point, because that was something that was brought up last week about everything, especially marketing, is overwhelming when you run your business by yourself. So that is an excellent point. Yes, I'm talking about money, but yeah, answer the question how you read it. So if you're reading the effort is more than just marketing effort, more than just financial effort, then I would say answer the question honestly. And anything that I give here, calculations, suggestions, strategies, anything I give here is adjustable to you and your business and your customers, okay? Everybody's entrepreneurial journey is different, and it should be different. Oh, okay. And lastly, I just want to talk about marketing assessment assistance, because like I said, people did bring up questions of, or not questions, but comments of overwhelm. I'm looking down at my notes. And then how to spend strategically and working with a small budget when it comes to marketing. So I tried to answer all of that into this slide. So first is to create a schedule. Okay, so I would say on a monthly basis, you should be checking the 4 out of the 5. So the cost per lead, cost per click, conversion rate, and cost per conversion. Calculating that on a monthly basis just to see if you can tweak it in the following month, right? But the return on investment, that is something that you can do after the campaign or after 1 quarter. It's not something that you need to continuously do, and you don't need to answer those questions on a monthly basis. But one thing that has helped me personally, and so I wanted to share with you, is like honestly putting it on your calendar like you're meeting with somebody, okay? So this is my marketing budget assessment or my marketing budget creation. Put it on your calendar, try to be lenient with time. If you think it's gonna take you 2 hours, double that and put 4. So if you're done early, then you can treat yourself for something like that. But create a schedule and put it on your calendar. Then next is to be flexible. And we know that about life and business, right? 2 years ago, our life was literally turned upside down. Things were as we've never seen them before. You had to pivot. Shout out to Hustle. They had a whole marketing outside the box about pivoting. But you need to be able to be flexible. This is, like I said, a budget is just a plan, all right? And it's kind of like a projection, right? But that doesn't mean that you have to stick to it. So if something's really working, like you have $100 allocated to Pinterest ads and then $100 allocated to flyers that you're going to hand out at the event that you're going to, right? But your Pinterest ads are doing great. They're converting into higher numbers than you ever thought possible. Then allocate some of those flyer funds towards Pinterest. You know what I'm saying? It's going to generate more revenue for you. And then you can allocate more funds later down the line to those flyers for the event. Okay, be flexible. Everything I'm offering you is just a suggestion, and it's hopefully loose enough where you can tweak it to your business and to your life. And finally, keep it simple. keep it simple. Just because you can do it all doesn't mean you should do it all, right? And usually multitasking doesn't work for everybody, and usually doesn't work for a lot of people. Like I said earlier, pick a platform and stick to it for at least 2 to 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Pick a campaign and stick to it for at least 6 weeks to 8 weeks to see how it is. There's nothing wrong with going slow, pretty much. I know we're in a very quick consumer world, but figuring how to tweak and adjust something so that it is sustainable for your business and your sales is nothing, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? So next week, we're going to give, I think Magali is coming in on this one, but not for sure. We're going to give you tips and resources that will offer you assistance with your money and your marketing, such as hiring help, interns, like Magali said earlier, and how to look for grants that could help with marketing or that are specific to your marketing efforts. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about anything I covered? Is there anything that you want to get out of next week? Any comments, concerns?
I want to add something. I know next week we're jumping into providing these resources and helping you through that. There's 2 things that I really want to stress from today. One is when you receive the presentation, I'm pretty sure Tony will also provide us that template so that you have access to that template as well. Please take the time to go through the template, and if you don't already have your marketing budget together, create it. I mean, hopefully you have an overall budget, and if not an overall budget, this kind of encourages you to put together the overall budget and then kind of have a special focus for your marketing budget. So that's the first thing that I want to kind of share and stress. And I'm not quite sure Tony's 100% availability, but I'm sure you can definitely reach out to her if you do need assistance with that. That's what her business does. It helps businesses. She helps build the boss. And if you're the boss, she's here to help you do that. So definitely want you to take advantage of what she provides. Maybe she'll give a special discount to marketing outside the box potential clients. I'm just saying. But then also, I want to stress to you all, as I said in the beginning, we do this in partnership with the Foresight Tech Small Business Center. I want you to know there are finance mentors there. As you go through your budget, if you find that you need a little bit more assistance, you need people to look it over, you can schedule meetings with the finance mentors. You can schedule meetings with the marketing mentors. I am one of the marketing mentors at the Small Business Center. So you can definitely use this to your advantage. Don't let the fact that once we roll into next week's resources and then roll into another topic next month, make you forget about your budget. Make it a priority because it will set the tone for the rest of the year for you, okay? So I just really, 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 really want to stress that. Any questions for Tony or myself? Comments, concerns? I saw something in the chat.
Well, I have a comment.
Okay, got it.
This presentation, I think you said about that marketing is like an investment. And what I kind of
You're breaking up a bit.
or say the supplement pipeline stock.
You hear her, Tony?
Just a little bit.
I don't know why it's breaking up.
Try turning off your camera and then we should
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, keep talking. Let's see.
Okay.
Yep, there you go.
Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Is that better?
Yes.
Well, all I want to do is make a comment about the marketing being like an investment. And it somewhat reminded me of the time when I actually owned stock, and they said it would be best to diversify the stock, put a little bit here, put a little bit there, and diversify. So what I've gotten from you both ladies today, it is going to be something like that, where you have to diversify. Try this. As she was saying, Tony may take, a month, or it may be a quarterly, but this has helped me. It helped open my eyes about the diversity and what really to put your money in that's going to bring that greater investment.
Yes, I think that's an excellent point as well. And I do want to point out that you can even diversify on a same platform, right? There's a thing called A and B testing that you can do a paid ad for, but you could still do that ad on Facebook or whatever platform that you choose. Same thing with even the tangible things such as a flyer or a mug that you're going to be handing out as a maybe like a call to action. You can do a mug versus a pen and see which people call you back or email you versus what contact information you put on there. So yes, absolutely, I agree. Diversify, and I'm so glad that this information has helped you. Before we have people jump off the call, I did want to say that the template that I'm going to send you is going to have the marketing budget in there, but it also has the questions from last week and this week on the different tabs. So it's pretty much like a worksheet, pretty much, where you can answer the questions, hopefully at the end of each month and quarter. You can go to the assess tab and start filling out those questions and all of that. So hopefully it's pretty much a one-stop shop document for you.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Tony. If there aren't any other questions for her, Keisha, Angie, Monica, Shannon, anyone have questions? Adriana, Sarah, I'm making sure I'm calling you out just in case. Rochelle, Danette, April, everybody's good. No questions before I let her out off the hook here.
I have no questions, but I will be emailing Tony.
Okay, perfect. That works.
No questions, but good presentation as always, you guys. Or ladies.
Yep, no question.
All right, awesome. Well, you all have a great rest of the week. Keep an eye on your emails. Tasha will get this sent out to you. Hopefully by Friday. I know this past week we sent it on Monday instead of Friday, but we'll definitely get it to you no later than Friday. So you have the weekend to look over it. And, you know, if you have any questions by next week, we're here to respond to that. And yes, Tony, to your comment earlier, I will be partnering with you next week for next week's presentation. So look forward to doing that. And you all enjoy the rest of the week. Have a good day.
Yes, you guys have a good day. Stay safe.
Thank you. Same to you, ladies.
Thank you.
No problem.
What?